Good morning, everyone, and it's such an absolute privilege to be here on this beautiful country, and what a beautiful day it is today. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the Gumatj people, the traditional owners of Gulkula, where we come together today. I pay my respects to elders past and present and convey my deepest respects to all the clans that come together in this place of learning. I also want to recognise the emerging young leaders who are here with us today. Your presence and your voices are powerful and matter. And just in front here, we've got students from Laynhupuy High School as well as Shepherdson College, and we've got a whole lot of other students who are going to be around today as well. So please join me in welcoming the students of Northern Territory Government Schools. It's a privilege to be here today to be able to share the stories of two of our long-standing government schools here in the Northern Territory, Yirrkala School and Laynhupuy Homelands School. And I'd like to invite the staff of those schools up on stage, please. Please welcome the staff. So as we're here today celebrating the 25 years of Garma, I'd also like to acknowledge that last year we celebrated 50 years of bilingual education at Yirrkala School. And in a few weeks' time, Laynhupuy Homelands will be celebrating 50 years of the Homelands school movement as well. So Yirrkala and Laynhupuy schools have a shared heritage and are united and have a shared vision, and you'll be hearing about that today. The vision acknowledges that our children and young people grow up with two laws in two worlds, and expresses a clear belief that our students are capable of learning high-level knowledge and responding to the challenges required for employment, for participation productively in local community life, and also engaging with the wider national and international communities. These school programs encourage students to develop skills, to have hope and vision for their futures. The key to this vision is the connection between school and community. And I'm delighted to welcome co-principals Mirki and Katrina, who'll introduce their staff from Yirrkala School, and also Abby, who will be introducing her staff for Laynhupuy School. So I will start with Yirrkala School. Thank you.
So firstly, I will talk about our shared vision statement under the Yirrkala schools, Laynhupuy, Homeland schools, and Yirrkala School. Our vision statement was written by the elders, and it's got 10 statements. And it reads that in those statements there are words like this: vision, sort out and analyze, balance, achieve, knowledge required, understand political power, challenges, self-identity, self-motivation. Ralpa, meaning motivated. Strong adults and strong young adults and children. Confident, devaluing, constructive, and philosophy. These are the words, or some of the words, or all of the words that are in those 10 statements. It was written in 80s, somewhere in the middle, 85, 86, by elders, by the action group and the school council. There was no balanda in that room. No balanda. It was all Yolngu. And we wrote that vision statement for both of the schools, for the Laynhupuy and Yirrkala School. Our then principal, Mr. Manda Owi Yunapingo, was our principal that we looked up to, and then our inspiration. These teachers back then were very strong and powerful. The action group made all the decisions in the school and how it should be as a school of a bilingual school. So last year we celebrated 50 years. 50 years of bilingual school in northeast Arnhem land. Through these statements, when we plan, even now, we go back to those statements and we try and balance them. Our lessons, every lessons that we do, whether it's learning on country, or whether it's the text of the book that the children are studying, and what the teachers plan, we all go back to this statement and then see where it would fit.
So we have a video that we'd like to share. If we could just get that ready to go. And I understand this video was part of the celebration of the 50 years of bilingual at Yirrkala School.
This year, Yirrkala School celebrated their 50th year of bilingual education, and the senior students wanted to do a video report of the day. We talked online about how to present to camera and some important tips when filming. This story was filmed and presented by the senior students at Yirrkala and edited right here at VAMP TV.
Hi, my name is Yalarinya. I'm a student at Yirrkala Bilingual School. On June the 6th, my school celebrated the 50th anniversary of the bilingual education. Welcome to Yirrkala celebration. At the beginning of the day, everyone at school was busy getting ready for the big celebration. Many people came to the Yirrkala to be here for the anniversary. First, our two principals welcomed everyone to the school. Then it was time for the students to perform. First, we read our school vision statement in Waya and English. Finally, it was time for the Bowden. After lunch, the students played mission games. We played Tin Tin. fat, beer throwing, marble game, and hopscotch. At the end of the day, it was time to cut the cake. The 50th anniversary was so much fun for all the students, teachers, family, and visitors.
If you'd like help to make a video report about something that's happening in your school or community, give me a call.
We are going to have a Q&A to answer, as a panel, some questions that Susan will pose us. But I'd like to shout out to Courtney from VAMP TV. VAMP TV is something that our education department supports to give a real voice for remote students. And it's been going for many years, and the engagement with that and the storytelling that comes through that is really incredible. So thank you.
Thank you. So, as Katrina mentioned, we will come back to Yirrkala School, but thank you for the presentation. I'd also just like to call out Courtney Bailey, who was part of that with VAMP TV, who Katrina mentioned. Miriki and I were recently at the NAIDOC Awards, and Courtney Bailey, who is one of our staff at the NT Music School, was awarded the Northern Territory Aboriginal Person of the Year at the NAIDOC Awards, which was an outstanding achievement. I'd now like to take us to Laynhupuy. So, Abby, if I can hand to you and you can introduce your staff and tell us a little bit about your school.
Hi everybody, I'm Abby, the principal at Laynhupuy Homelands School, and we'll just do a quick run along the panel here so you know who everybody is.
Hi, my name is Injay Bidingal and I am the teacher of Makarrata.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Pulpono Monongoro. I was the ex-student at the SHAP, and now I am the co-coordinator for the social and emotional well-being at Laynhupuy, and I'm here with these people to be guiding them at my home. Thank you.
My name's Zach O'Connor. I'm senior teacher at Makarrata School. And special hello to all the students here and my old students from Gulkula. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. My name is Charles Yirrkala, and I'm a graduate from Makarrata School last year.
If we could get that PowerPoint up, that would be great. Thank you. So there's not much that's typical about Laynhupuy Homelands School. We're a school with a difference, and everything we do looks a little bit different. So to give you a bit of an orientation, we're here today to focus primarily on our innovative secondary program, which is quite unique in its design and the way that it runs. So to give you a bit of an introduction to our school, Yinjay is going to talk you through a little flying presentation, a flying map up on the screen there, and you can see it started at Gulkula and now it's flying around to where our schools are located. So over to Yinjay.
Namiri Bookmark. Today I'm going to tell you a story about our school. In Laynhupuy Homelands, provide service to 9 homelands from 2 to 8 schools. Students have to stay in the homelands and 10 local schools. Makarrata boarding school from year 9 to 12. Students from their community has to fly to Kartala community every Monday and fly back home to their community every Friday to spend weekend with their family. As you all can see from the map, it shows where our students live and attend 2 to 8 classes in their homelands.
So This map finishes up in a minute at the community of Gatalala. That's Bulpanu's home community. And as Yinjay mentioned, we have students living at those 9 sites. But the students in years 9, 10, 11 and 12, so the senior students and some middle year students, every week fly to a central homeland at Gatalala. And that's that homeland there, zooming out now. And as you can see, it's quite central to the whole Laynhupuy region. And with those little lines on the map there, it's sort of starting to look a little bit like a spider web. It reminds us of an activity that we often do with our students to remind them how they're all connected through kinship and through guruto. And we do an activity where the students pass wool to each other or rope and re-establish and affirm their guruto connections. And all of the students in our school have that connection with each other. They're all connected through kinship and family. Could we have the next slide, please?
At Makarrata Boarding, a day in a life for our students, we provide afternoon activities like well-being for boys and girls, sporting activities, maritime on a boat. Even we teach our students for life skills, washing clothes, how to cook, how to wash their own dishes. Also, every Friday before returning to their homelands, students clean their dorms, and it's good for their hygiene, health, and well-being. Thank you.
Next slide, please. Just going to hand to Bulpanu, who can talk about her home community, where we run the Makarrata program.
Again, I am the member of the Gulkula community. Traditional owners, Gomach, Monongorich, custodians, Yapo. Yapo is the people that been lead the way and make it a safe place for everyone. Everyone that comes to Gulkula, Yolungo and Balanda, we are the people who can make the agreement for coming in and welcoming there. And who are we to them? And the Makarrata name, my grandfather named that the school, senior school, it because, as you can see, that arrow pointed to that little island there. That's where they settled. They were fighting the two, the barrow and the marangel, crocodile and the stingray. They've been fighting who's going to take over that place. But then they made agreement from their heart and they settled themselves in there. And that's the reason why we named that school. So every one of us can make agreement, especially me and my families. I'm sorry. It because that is very important to all of us. Ngalamungo yolongo, da Gulkula, yago na Makarrata laka ngana yako, Mr. Yunupingo. Because we are the yolongo mana that we can make agreement for all of us. And learning alamuro, teaching alamuro yolongo na mana na amin the ngapaki mana. We are the people who's got the wisdom and the knowledge. We are the people, ngali yolungo, whoever we are across Arnhem land. Ngali yolungo can make the agreement. For bookmako, yol ngalinguru visitor, outsider, mariki, kanina ngalingero wangango, ngarakango.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Just a brief history of this program. I guess in the early 2000s, Laynhupuy School was running a primary curriculum across those 9 sites, and secondary students were sitting in those classrooms doing post-primary curriculum. And shortly after that, there was a movement to sort of have secondary programs running in local schools in this region. Yirrkala School was one of the first schools to implement a full NTCET program. And leaders in the Homelands saw what was happening in other places and wanted the same for kids in Homelands. We had a Yolngu principal at the time, Ms. Nguruwutun, and along with Bulpunu's grandmother, they spoke to elders and got consensus that they wanted to trial something different, and they wanted to bring secondary age students together in a central place. Gathalala was chosen because of its central location, and particularly also because of the strong leadership in that community from Bulpunu's family and grandparents. So a trial started, and it was cooking on the veranda and sleeping on the classroom floor and lots of fun. And in 2008, we had our first lot of graduates. So we can just take a little look at that in the next slide. It was a big day. It was the first time any Homeland students had ever obtained their full NTCET, living entirely on their homeland, not having to leave their country. Next slide, please. After that, there was a bit of a falling off of the program. There was a lack of funding and some changes that happened. And it was reinvigorated again in 2019. A couple of key milestones there is that we changed the name from SHEP to Makarrata, partly because Shepherdston College, sitting here, it was getting very confusing whether SHEP kids were SHEP kids or Shepherdston kids, and partly for the reasons that Bulpunu mentioned. Another key thing was that we got recognised as a formal boarding provider, and also we got our SACE number so that we can provide our own SACE curriculum. And so we've had a steady stream of graduates through since then. Next slide, please.
So just a little bit about the teaching and learning programs that we offer. I'm sure all the educators here would agree that we try to contextualise things as much as possible, make programs engaging but also relevant for life skills, and Injay mentioned the life skills that are embedded in the after-school program, and just the washing, kids doing their own dishes and clothes washing and cooking. We also offer quite a lot of our NTCETs delivered through VET training, maritime, conservation, ecosystem management, cookery, and swimming, Swim Survive. And offering meaningful pathways after school, traineeships, work experience, and really connecting with local partners to ensure that those transitions are meaningful. We offer, RACL is down the bottom there. That refers to the recognition of Aboriginal cultural knowledge learning, which has been a really helpful and I guess overdue offering in the curriculum, and we might talk about that a bit later. Next slide, please. This is just an example of a Year 12's study plan. So it talks about how they're going to get through their Year 12 NTCET through all the subjects that are being offered, including VET. But also on the left-hand side, you can see a lot of kind of not necessarily items that will get them through a Year 12 certificate, but things that will be useful for their transition out of school, their paperwork, documentation, bank account, getting a first aid, a driver's license, having a resume ready to go, all those essential items that might seem quite obvious in the mainstream, but really need to be explicitly targeted in a remote context.
Next slide, please. Yirrki's already beautifully covered our vision statement, so we can move on from that, but we keep that statement in our mind at all times, and at any time we're making a change at the school or thinking about something, we refer back to those values to make sure that we're on track. Next slide, please. Recently, the Education Department did a review into secondary education across the NT, and for us it was just reaffirming to read that review and know that many of the key recommendations we're already doing. I've snipped a few of them there, but the main one is probably a guaranteed standard of local secondary school provision for all students, regardless of geographic location. And for us, that might mean 1 or 2 senior secondary students living in a very remote place. So how do you make secondary education viable when maybe there's only 2 teenagers in a tiny community? So that's how we've come up with this model of bringing students together. Next slide, please. It's just some images there of what a week can look like. Some students got their driver's license this week, I think. Moving on, next slide, please. Bulpunu is going to talk about how we support students' well-being while they're away from home at Gatalala each week.
As a part of my JAMA there, I became a co-coordinator because I've been looking at the people our elders are passing on. And I felt like, how can we be, as a Yolongumala bookmark, and working together with the Ngabagi? My part of my JAMA is I always took being close with the senior teacher and a Yolngo teacher here, working through together as we walk and talk. That makes us more confident. And the kapu metaphor, the lipa metaphor, that makes us more connected to the land. As JAMA for me and for my partner, his name's Cameron Memru, we are the people who was there to talk to the young people. Deramo, kami Mala, from the other Homelands, Malalimarki, Makarrata lai, and we talk 2 language, Yolngo Gangapagi, just to make that Yamarkole connect to the land, and we support them because those are the people, we are the people who became the next leader for our future. We are the generation for our ngalapar mi malangi, markap mi malang, alamonama marichi, apara palamongo well-being JAMA, how Alamo look after for the land, for the kapo, for everything that Alamo connect. Kapui, wangai, darpai, wanama. Ngali yulungo yolmoya. Ngali to show alingo who are we and what are we doing and why we there in our homeland. That's how I really talk to my people in my community. That's how I am with the Balanda teachers and Yolungo teachers and bookmark Yirrkala and Yirrkala Mariki, Makarrata lai. We stand for them. We show them. We're there for them and for all of them. And who visit us Malali Mariki, Makarrata lai, we are the people.
Next slide, please. Sorry, next slide, please. So this is the end. It's just a bit of a taste so you can understand how we run our senior secondary program. Just some photos of the last 3 years of graduates. So this one was 2022, 2023, 2024 with Charles here. And that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Thank you. And inspiring stories of 2 of our very strong schools here in the Northern Territory. I'm going to pose a couple of questions to the panel now and invite them to share a little bit more and get some more insights into the school. I'm going to start with Yirrkala School. So Yirrkala School has got a very strong history and continues to grow their own teachers. So my question for you is around why is it important that you have Yolngu educators studying to be teachers? And my second part of the question is how do you support those teachers on their journey? Because those of us who are in education, have studied, know how tough it is to be on that journey.
I'll just start by introducing Sinead Thorne, who is now one of our more experienced young educators at the school, an amazing teacher, and she'll talk a little bit about her reasons for studying.
So, it is important for children to see that it is possible for you all to study to become teacher. For the children to see and follow in the footsteps of your role models. Two of my grandmothers were educators, and others are long gone, who inspired me to become a teacher. Mr. Onomura said, I honestly believe that our children can achieve anything. If we all want studying to become a teachers, we can help children learn well. Children learn better in their first language. The best teachers for Yolngu students are Yolngu. I am studying about Yolngu language and culture in a Diploma of Art through CDU. I want to study to become a professional teacher, to teach our language and culture and keep our bilingual school strong. Sorry, last one.
Yes.
As the teachers, Yolngu Kabalanda, we must prepare to operate in the contemporary world in a strong and balanced way, so that we will be able to achieve the visions and aspirations of our elders. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to acknowledge the work of Charles Darwin University. I know some of my colleagues from CDU are here, as well as Bachelor Institute, who have had a long history of supporting our Aboriginal educators here in the Northern Territory. I'm going to go to Laynhupuy. We have Charles here. Charles, I understand you completed your Northern Territory Certificate of Education, your NTCET, last year. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Can you share a little bit about your learning? What was your favourite thing? I understand you were one of the boarding students as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what you enjoyed about that time?
What I most enjoy back at school, it's my favourite thing. It's learning country. Learn all from elders. From my leaders. The most thing is back home, where my homeland is. It's brain. My grandfather always teach me how to, be with the land and with the culture. How to keep culture strong as a young boy. But, the most favourite thing is learning country. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. So both of our schools, both Yirrkala and Laynhupuy, have a strong Learning on Country program. I might ask both schools to talk a little bit about that. First of all, Yirrkala School, can you talk a little bit about your Learning on Country program?
So, Learning on Country happened years before, during the 80s. It was actually called Galta Rome, which means going out into the country and learning about whatever it is that the elders have planned. Through the years, it changed into Learning on Country. And it spread from there to elsewhere, all the other communities. Learning on Country is not just going out and looking at things and collecting things. It's learning. Yolngu learning. We take whatever we learn and we take it back to the classrooms, and we look at the curricula, Garma curriculum. That is our curricula at Yirrkala School, Karma curricula. And then we look at the Northern Territory, the Australian curriculum as well, and combine them together. And then we learn not only through Yolngu, but also through the Western way. This term's theme is fire, kurta. So we're looking at fire, kurta, and how can we learn, whether it's be the Western curricula and the Yolngu Karma curricula. And then we work with the children and teach the children. Anything else you need to add?
I think it's really important to know that the planning isn't just ad hoc and we're going out on country. The planning happens the year before, where our action group and the Dimiro Rangers come together, decide on what the big ideas that Yolngu want the children to learn for the following year. And then as Ballanda teachers, we come behind and look at how that can map onto the Australian curriculum or the Northern Territory Certificate of Education, and design language literacy tasks, numeracy, all across the curriculum that can be drawn out of those experiences on country. And it provides a real opportunity for literacy learning in first language, as well as other tasks in English.
And just for your interest, when I mentioned Karma, the festival here came from Yirrkala School curricula back then. Now we're celebrating 25 years today.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to Laynhupuy. Just earlier, it was touched on around the recognition of cultural learning. So in the Northern Territory, for those of you who are from interstate, obviously we do the Australian curriculum to year 10, but we use the South Australian curriculum in years 11 and 12, and we've found that that really suits the needs of our students to meet the demands of our Northern Territory Certificate of Education. The recognition of cultural learning is something that we've been piloting here in the Northern Territory with South Australia, and I was just wondering if Laynhupuy could talk a little bit more. Is that Zach talking about that? Thank you.
Yeah, I guess we can hear the passion that Charles and Mirki have in their voices when they talk about learning on country and learning from their elders. In this context, it's so important to give that place, that knowledge and that learning a legitimate place in the school. In a mainstream context, I guess kids might get credit points for their Year 12 certificate from Scouts or from coaching a soccer team or knowing a language at home that they speak and then easily getting the credits for that at school. Why can't we recognise the deep learning that students, all Yolngu students really have when they're out on country for their whole lives, participating in ceremonies, learning from their elders and learning that, just that deep and important knowledge that Yolngu hold so close. It's fantastic that the SACE, the South Australia curriculum, has implemented a program to be able to recognise that and get points for the Year 12 certificate to recognise cultural learning. The students that we've used that program through the pilot phase, have gained credits from participating in ceremonies and being assessed by the elders. It's not for the Ballanda educators or the Department of Education to assess their learning and their growth in that knowledge or that leadership, but we pass that control to the elders and say, you have the knowledge, you're the right person to assess this. Has this young person progressed in their learning, progressed in their knowledge? And if the elder considers that they have, then they can actually gain points for their Year 12 certificate, which I think is a really great step forward.
Thank you. So the Northern Territory is really leading the way in terms of how we recognise cultural learning as a pathway for students to gain their Northern Territory Certificate of Education. I'm just going to ask one more question of each of our schools. Going back to Yirrkala School, we heard a little bit from Laynhupuy School just around how they support wellbeing and student wellbeing. Could you share some insights around how you do that at your school?
And I'll combine it with one other question that we missed, was about how we support our Yolngu educators. Because through supporting our Yolngu educators, we're supporting the well-being of our Yolngu students. As Shanae said, the best teachers of Yolngu children are Yolngu adults. And so the starting point for our well-being is really making sure that our Yolngu educators are strong. And we started our adult education program, our community-based education program, with the support initially of Cotton On Foundation to get us just that start, because we can't have Yolngu out of the classroom, because then who's teaching the children in their first language? So that was a start, and then with support by NT Rate, Remote Area Teacher Education Program, that's been able to blossom. And links with Melbourne Uni have meant that we have done a lot of work around our wellbeing and inclusion program in a really reflective, informed way, driven by our Yolngu educators. And so I'll get Mickey to talk a little bit more about what you saw in our videos. So there was a group of children on the oval. Every morning we start with our Safe and Ready program, which also links back to our vision statement. I'll leave that a little bit for Midkey. And then over time, with reflection, we've started to build in really explicit work around the zones of regulation. So the students are very conscious of their emotions and feelings and have strategies to deal with those extreme emotions that sometimes they're coming to school with. And at the moment, we're working really strongly with restorative processes, restorative justice, and trying to build up knowledge about how to solve conflict amongst the staff and then the students. Do you want to talk about that?
So I think 3 years ago, we had in our office, we had a list of kids, of naughty kids. Last time I checked,
You told me
there
you
was
didn't
only
have
one.
naughty kids at your school.
No more, no more.
No more. No more. Last time we checked, there's no names. But we do, from the vision statement, the action group has modified so that children themselves chant that vision, and it's to do with themselves. They say, I grow up with 2 laws, and so on. And right at the end, they say, you as our teachers, you must be prepared so that you and I, can achieve the visions and the aspirations of our elders. And this is what they do every morning. It's called Safe and Ready. So we sit around and we share stories, and then we play a little game, and then we talk about what is safe and what it means to be ready to learn.
Just one other element that works across both schools is the importance of teams. Cross-cultural teams operate in every aspect of our school. Midki and myself, every classroom has a Balanda and a Yolngu teacher. Our ground staff, Yolngu and Balanda together, always together, Yakagana.
Thank you. I'm going to squeeze in one more question, or do I need to wind up? How am I going? One more question? Oh, I'm allowed one more question. Fantastic. Careful what you wish for. So I'm going to come back to Laynhupuy. We're hearing a bit more around the wellbeing from Yirrkala School. So when you have a boarding school in a very remote community, how do the families support those students? Like, how does that happen? How does that operate in a community like Gulkula when, you know, there might be children that are feeling a bit homesick, or how do you make sure they're supported?
We do, first when students came, each Homelands, first we do with the Raki Kuruto, to connect to the people, to the young, yoto, ningai teenager, balanya, nakangero thinking that why ngero coming into our homeland when ngero other homeland ngumarchi. First, we do with the Raki. That is a very important activity to do with the students, so they can feel connected to the teachers, to the Yolungo teacher, to the community, and to all, inside and outside the classroom, outside the dorm, inside the dorm. Everywhere they go, they feel connected. My grandfather once he said to me, stand in front of for all the people, teach them, learn them, help them, tell them who are we, so they can come with the Marparam, trust you gods, what you wanted to come to look at our land and how you can teach us, and together we can teach each other. So we can walk and balance the two worlds side by side, Yolungoga Balanda, working together.
Thank you. So that's the end of our session. Please join me in thanking our two fabulous schools. Sorry?
Before we finish, I'd like to acknowledge and thank the Education Department, Stuart Paul, Kirsty, Miranda, and of course our lovely Susan. And also, thank you, yothuyindifoundation. Thank you.
Thank you. So today you've heard the strong vision of Yirrkala and Laynhupuy Homeland schools. These schools are providing such a powerful foundation for learning, and it's been delivered in both of these schools. And you heard the importance of shared governance, student wellbeing, language, culture, relationships, caring for children, caring for land, the connections between the student, staff, family and community. So just in closing, I'd like to thank you all most sincerely for being here today. It's been a joy to be able to host this session, and on behalf of the Department of Education and our schools here today, we're very grateful for the opportunity to attend this festival on such beautiful country, and I thank you in advance for the knowledge, insights and collaboration you will provide this weekend and beyond. Thank you.